We are live. Hello and welcome to the first day of June 2014. It is Sunday. It is 12:32 p.m., but that's okay. And this is Dylan Knows, the greatest YouTube show on the interwebs. I'm on my 37th episode, so take that, all you haters and doubters out there. For those who might not know, Dylan Knows is my weekly show. Every week I take a look at a different genre on my show. This week happens to be comics, and what I have on this week is my usual co-host, Mr. MJ Khan. Hi, MJ.
Hey, Dylan. How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Excellent.
Yeah. Are you writing? You writing still?
I am writing still. So, I'm not giving that up yet. So I am writing.
Yeah, if you want to tell people about what you're writing, that'd be great.
I'm actually working on a sequel to my first novel, which was called Earth's First, and it's my tagline there. And it is a novel about humanity's first encounter with aliens, which leads to the rise of people with, increased abilities, or our first superheroes. And so I'm currently working on the sequel to it and having a ball on it.
Fantastic, fantastic. I still haven't read it all the way through yet. I have a problem with reading books, but I do own a copy of it, and I've been reading it periodically here and there. It's still pretty good that I've read so far, so better keep up.
Well, thank you.
Or you're going to be in a lot of trouble. And joining us today, the first time,
Double team.
One's first time and one's second time on the show. I've got Jay and Nicole with us. Jay has been on the show before, and this is Nicole's first appearance on our show. So say hi, guys.
Hey, how's it going?
And the reason why I have them on is because Nicole and Jay are our con experts, as it were, comic convention experts. Always seemingly somehow find a way to get their way into San Diego, which is, from everything I've read on Twitter, is almost nigh impossible. But how long have you guys been going to San Diego?
5 years.
5. Yes, this will be the 5th year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you guys have some expertise in the cons, and we will talk about that in a little bit. I do have the Q&A up right now, so if anybody wants to comment, ask us any questions, we will gladly answer them. And it's just going to be a nice little discussion about comic books, comic book movies, TV shows, fun stuff like that. So because we're all fans, and we also want to try to convince other people to try out the comics as well. So hopefully we'll get your day, and let's get started. Let's do some of the news first before we get into the meat and potatoes of the episode today, which is the con survival. There have been a lot of news going on this week about the Marvel. I guess it's all Marvel. Yeah, it is all Marvel stuff. All the Marvel TV shows and movies that are going on, since they are some of the more popular things out there now. It's a hot item out there, and Marvel's doing a fantastic job. The biggest news broke early in the week when we found out that Edgar Wright, who has been pushing for an Ant-Man movie for years and years, and finally got his way to do it, finally decided, you know what, I don't want to do it, because Marvel, for whatever reason, didn't like the direction it was going in. So he is leaving the project, and I don't know. I mean, it's the first kind of, I don't know, black eye that Marvel has. What's your guys' take on that?
Personally, it had to have been something that it was maybe like, I'm going to do this like this, and then Marvel was like, oh, no. You're not going to get in here and get whatever you want with it. And then that was it. And it was, you know what, I'm taking my ball and won't go home. And that's how I feel about it, but... Yeah.
Well, I mean, what do you guys think about that? I mean, if you've got a showrunner and they have a specific vision, they've worked with it, they've developed it, and then the studios come in and say, we want it to be like this, we have a formula, we know what works, we want it to be like this. I mean, what do you guys think about them being able to do that? I mean, should they stick with the vision of the showrunner, or is it better to just suddenly say, okay, you know what, let's just make it a studio production like we normally would?
I think if you're going to call somebody a showrunner, that's their title right there. They run the show. It should, I'm putting my faith in you. This is your show. Then do what you got to do. Like, look what like after Walking Dead, like after they lost their showrunner from the get-go, and it was like, well, this is a little bit different. It's shaped up. I mean, it's I'm almost off of Walking Dead anyway, but but it happens though. Like they just come in and just totally ruins it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I think I believe that I agree with you guys. I think that it was his vision, it was his idea. Yes, he's using one of Marvel's characters, and he wants to add it to the Marvel universe proper. But sometimes you got to take chances. I think, and I don't know. I mean, we'll never know. I guess what his vision was. I mean, if it was something really off the wall and outrageous, maybe I would change my mind. But it's still, if you do a show, you do a movie, and you let the director and the writer and all that let them do it their way, and it plays. I mean, it's a crapshoot, really. I mean, that's what the business is. It's a crapshoot. You don't know if it's going to do really well or if it's going to flop.
Right.
Now, if it does really well, then Marvel can just go, phew, okay, we lucked out there, and Edgar, congratulations, you did a great job. You want to do the sequel, blah, blah, blah. Or if it fails, in this era of reboots and sequelitis and stuff like that, why don't you just say, well, you know what, Edgar, I don't think your vision was proper for this character, and we appreciate everything you did, but we are going to maybe take the character into a different direction. And then you hire another director, another writer to do the sequel to it, and give that one a try and see if this vision will focus more on, and then find somebody with your vision of what you want the character to be. And then if you have a good writer, they can take what went before and mix it up and turn it into a true sequel, but at the same time feel like you're starting over again. And I just feel that's what you should do. But once again, we got to keep remembering this is big business. Business runs everything. Money rules the world. If they think that for a second it's going to be something that they don't like or it's going to damage their property, they're going to pull the plug in 2 seconds because that's just the way to do it. Now, I find it interesting is Guardians of the Galaxy was able to get itself off of its feet, and it's one of those, and with and kind of a interesting director as well, and they were able to, with his vision, and I guess maybe they were able to agree with what his vision was. But from what I've been seeing, I mean, I still want to see it. It looks interesting, but it also looks a little not quite like your typical Marvel movie, which is fine because you don't want to have cookie cutter films,
Right.
Well, but what was he going to do that was going to be so off the wall that it's a talking tree and a raccoon?
A raccoon with a gun.
Yes, that it was going to be that they're like, oh no, wait, no, like. They got Vin Diesel for Groot that says "I am Groot." That's it. Spoiler alert. That's all he says the whole movie. So like, how much crazier than what he would have been? Like, he's like, okay, Michael Douglas in there. Like, I can't. I really feel like it was somebody just taking their ball and going home over the whole thing.
Well, I think with the character with Ant-Man, I think you got to be very careful. That character, he's walking a fine line. It could be great, or it could end up looking like Who Shrunk the Kids.
But they did have a big ant in that too.
That's what I think of when I hear Ant-Man. I'm thinking, oh God, Who Shrunk the Kid? It's going to look like that. But I'll reserve that judgment. So.
Well, I mean, like they said Paul Rudd. Okay, it's going to be there's going to be a little more on the funny side. But just like I said, just how off the wall was this pitch after 6+ years really trying to get this thing going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me, and I still like the casting because it's not Henry Pym that Rudd is playing. He's playing, and it's not Scott Lang either. He's playing the other guy that was introduced in the comics that was kind of more of a dick. He was the guy who sort of stole the Pym particles and was trying to. It was almost like Marvel's version of Booster Gold. He was trying to be this popular guy, make his way, pretend to be a big superhero by using these powers, but at the same time, he's kind of a dick. And I thought Paul Rudd was good casting in that. I thought Michael Douglas would have been was pretty good casting as Henry Pym. If you're going for the older Henry Pym, which is fine. I mean, that's what you want to do. That's fine because Douglas is ancient, but but it's still I can't even imagine exactly, Jay, what you're saying. What could have made Marvel take a second and go, whoa, wait a second.
here's a Pym particle, and now it's Land of the Lost, and they got a big boom dinosaur coming out of the side. Like, what? I just don't get it.
Yeah. So
and, it wasn't because the Ultron news is all that's out there, and it's like, well, Pym wasn't going to be the one that did Ultron, so it probably had nothing to do with any other movie, So, like, they got like Ghost Rider 2. Like, we're going to say this is canon, and you're not even going to give, like, a shot to somebody else. Ghost Rider 2.
And, they've taken their shots before. I mean, Marvel they're kind of riding a big wave right now. So I'm sure that they're feeling the pressure, too, to keep producing these blockbusters. And, that maybe if anything looks a little bit off to them, they're, look at Ang Lee's The Hulk. I love Ang Lee. But should he be directing, Marvel movies? No. So,
well, they also got to realize not every movie is going to be a hit. There has to be one that's going to be like, that's Green Lantern sucks, man. Like,
yeah.
I guess they're just maybe they're getting scared. But see, the thing is, and I've heard this before. Some people were talking. They think that Guardians of the Galaxy is going to be the big flop that Marvel's been. I don't think it will be.
I don't think it will be.
No, it just looks fun.
Because I think because they took the comedy route, I think that they haven't done that lately, and I think that is going to be what everyone wants now.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're not taking it so seriously.
And, that's interesting that that we were talking about Guardians of the Galaxy, because the other big news that just came out, and this was like the tail end of this week, was that Josh Brolin has been cast as Thanos.
Yes.
It's going to be CGI, whatever it is. So.
Yeah. I
would have liked James Brolin as Thanos.
I think it's unnecessarily somebody with a large name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which they don't need.
Yeah.
Throwing money around.
And Sean will say, "Hey, look who else we can get. We've got Josh Brolin here. They've got Glenn Close in the new Guardians of the Galaxy movie, crying out loud. So you got Michael Douglas in the Ant-Man movie, supposedly still, if he's still going to stick around, So, and then they got, and I think it all started with Robert Redford being in Winter Soldier. They're trying to get all these more older, established actors who, well, Josh Brolin not so much, but
the whole movie. Robert Redford, the whole movie, I did not recognize him.
I was disappointed he didn't do one of these. Well, and I'm Red Skull too. That's what I was looking for. Because they're like the toys were out, and you're like, well, why is there Red Skull toys for a Winter Soldier movie?
I just think there's a big difference though between Robert Redford and then getting Michael Douglas or a Brolin to carry a movie. I just think there's a huge difference there to begin with. So.
So I guess it should be interesting. I mean, and you're right, absolutely. I mean, as long as they don't contour Thanos' face to look like Josh Brolin, if they make it look like Thanos, then it doesn't matter whose voice is coming out there. If they're going to do it mocap, even, I don't know, but we'll see. So the fact that they have cast a Thanos means that he's going to be popping up somewhere. Now, I don't think he's going to make an appearance in Guardians of the Galaxy. I've heard that he might, but this casting for him just came through the wire, and unless he was secretly filmed and is going to be in it, and then they're just saying, oh, by the way, we got Josh Brolin, then, oh, look, Guardians of the Galaxy, there's Josh Brolin's name up there. He's going to be Thanos. I don't know if Thanos is really going to be a major part, or he's going to be a lot like the teaser that happened at the end of the Avengers, where it's just going to be him, looking off the distance or grabbing the Infinity Gauntlet or something like that. I think that's coming up in one of the next wave of movies, and I'm trying to figure out which one it could possibly be, because we know right now they're setting up the Infinity Gauntlet storyline from what's been going on with all the other stuff. So we'll have to wait and see. So it was interesting casting and an interesting time to bring it up, because right now the only movie that's being filmed is Avengers 2. So I'm wondering if maybe he's going to make a pop-up appearance in that, because he's definitely probably not going to be an Ant-Man.
Even the little stinger after mid-credit. You got them, just like Avengers.
Yeah.
Here's a little fun fact too. Nicole knows Thanos from Avengers, the movie. The actor that played him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. His cousin sat behind me at my last job, so I was very sad to hear that they replaced him because.
You were excited about that.
Oh yeah, it's
like
a
good
cool
guy, you know.
And it's cool, like, hey, I know fucking Thanos. Like, throw that out there. It's pretty bad.
And he's a good guy, you know. He could use, and he did great, right? I mean, it was only a clip.
Yeah,
come on.
That second he showed his face.
Yeah, but he did. He looked exactly like Thanos, and it did exactly what it was supposed to do. It got people in the theater that I saw it with. Half of them knew what was going to happen because they read the spoilers. The other half were like audible.
Yeah.
And then there was a few people in there also was like, who the hell is that?
Yeah, exactly.
So, a few tears.
But speaking of Avengers, too, did anybody see Hawkeye's costume that they're trying to...
I did.
I didn't.
It's like a long coat.
Yeah.
It's like his costume from the first movie with sleeves, and it's like a long coat. And it's almost like they're trying to give him like the purple skirt, but it was like, we don't know if we can give him the purple skirt, you know?
Right.
It looks bad. If he has a mask, maybe it'll pass for me, but I see it the other day, and I was just so mad about it. So I liked the purple skirt. I think it was cool. Like, he had the little sash. I liked it.
I'm not a fan.
I liked it.
I just think it would get in the way, you know.
Yeah.
I probably would, but
flipping around, it's like it would get caught on his bow or something. He, you know, critical moment, he ends up dead because he couldn't get his bow away from his sash. So.
Before we get on to the next level business, first up, John McGevna is like, hey, Dylan, be sure to tell MJ that he has loyal readers, myself included, who are eagerly awaiting the sequel to Earth's First. So, John McGevna is a fan. Then we have somebody whose name I can't pronounce. He's from the Middle East, possibly. His name it says Sharjah, so I don't know what that is. So, hi, Sharjah, if that's your name, or hello, or whatever. And then Holly is saying it's all connected, which is the theme from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV series, which did get its second season, which is great because, and it's going to be moved to 9 o'clock, which I'm very happy about because the problem with that is 8 to 9 is kiddie bedtime for me, so and Dawn. So we got to get the kids to bed. We get them in bed, and they're usually in bed by 8:30. But by then, the show's half over. The same reason why I haven't been following. Well, no, Arrow's been at 8 o'clock also, right? Yeah, that's the other reason why I haven't been following Arrow either, is because it's not 8 o'clock. But I have been DVR, so I have all the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. DVR'd. We watched a couple of them, but then we just sort of got away from it, so I got to get caught up before the new season.
Honestly, all you got to do is just watch the last maybe 5 episodes. When it started the crossover with the Captain America, started from there and watch it. That's all you really need to know.
Okay, excellent.
It wasn't worth it before that.
Well, the whole season was like blah. You know, I personally think worth the work. I forget. Somebody put out a list of what was it, Steinwickenent's what the hell is his name? I forget. They put out a list of how they could fix that show, and it was like more like spy stuff because they're spies. Nick Fury has to show up a little bit more, you know, and that would make sense. At least just his voice, you know, like Bosley or whatever.
Yeah, he could be on the phone.
Yeah, there could be
Yeah.
They need to step it up though. It was cool. Finished, you know, but I need
Arrow's better.
I keep telling Dylan, Arrow is so much better. It's amazing.
See, I wasn't about Arrow I wasn't about that life with Arrow.
But I made him.
And I watched it a couple times and I got into it. But why does he have that dumb dirt bike? It's a dirt bike.
That's what
Get a motorcycle. You want to prance around and be a superhero? Get a fucking motorcycle, all right? It's a dirt bike.
And then on that also, I mean, I'm actually excited about The Flash. I saw the extended trailer for it. I thought that looked really badass, too. And the fact that they got John Wesley Shipp to play his father from he played The Flash in the 1990 TV series, which I also found it was excellent. And so that's pretty good. So the next Marvel news is on their TV end, kind of TV, I guess. It's been announced a while back, and MJ and I talked about it a while back also, that Netflix is going to be doing 4 like 13 episode series directed to Netflix, so you can only watch that. It's Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, or no, I'm sorry, Power Man, and is it Iron Fist also?
It is Iron Fist, yes.
Yeah. And that's going to all lead up to them forming the Defenders, and it's going to be more of a street level superheroes instead of them fighting the big giant monsters that the Avengers do. They could be more fighting the street level crime and stuff like that. So interesting premise, and they picked probably the 4 best characters. Too bad I think the Punisher's rights are still kind of up in the air because he would have fit in perfectly with that as well. And who knows, maybe eventually they'll get him back, and maybe the next wave of Netflix shows, maybe they get the Punisher on there, and that would be great. But
next wave.
Yeah.
Because this superhero thing is going to top off, and then it's going to be like, this is done now, boys. it will top off. I'm loving it, but the realist in me, at some point, society's going to be like, okay, we're done with this and move on to werewolves again or vampires or whatever.
It's still always there in the background.
Yeah, it'll be there, but not as like we're eating it right now. We're getting feel like, yeah, give me more. You want to throw a little Iron Man at me? Okay, cool. All right, what else you got?
Yeah, but did you see Marvel's long-term plans? I mean, they've got like 17 years mapped out.
Yes, they do.
It's ridiculous in what they're doing. So I think in their minds, this isn't going to end. So they're gonna milk it for everything it's worth, I think.
Right.
Which is good. I'm not complaining as long as they keep doing it, the right way. So.
Yeah, I was reading an article about DC's how they're moving along with their movies. And they're saying, and it actually made, I thought about it, and I thought it was a pretty good idea. Like, instead of, they start Man of Steel, then it's Batman, Superman, then it's Justice League. It's not like they're introducing each character, doing those 3 sets of movies. It's like they're just saying, okay, here's the universe. Okay, now we're going to just make it a little bigger, a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger, and not have to eventually do all these origin story movies. Like, I don't want to Cyborg origin story movie. Yeah, like I thought that was a really good idea. I like that. Like,
but they still did the origins with Superman, though. Don't play me out on that.
Well, when his dumb ass dead. No. Don't save me. I'll let this tornado suck me up.
30 minutes of my life. I can't get back.
Yeah, and then with Ben Affleck as Batman, they probably won't be rehashing his origin. He might just mention it in passing, but I doubt everyone by now knows what Batman's like. So. And then I don't know if I'm a big fan. If they're still going to be keeping Wonder Woman as being one of the Kryptonians that escaped, I don't know if I'm.
Wait, they're still going to do that?
Well, I haven't heard. I mean, I haven't heard anything different. I haven't heard anything different that they are going to be changing it back to her Greek mythology background. But I've heard that because of the whole thing, that the dust up that happened with Goyer last week, which I talked a little bit on last week's show. But just we can hit that real quick. I mean, Goyer's comments about how he thought She-Hulk was basically a porn star for. Is a big green porn star and should be, fucking the Hulk instead of, being a superhero. And that's the only reason why she was created. And that Martian Manhunter is totally useless, which pisses me off more than anything because I love Martian Manhunter. And the fact is, Martian Manhunter has been a mainstay in every Justice League, with the exception of 1 or 2 here and there. But he's been a founding member of almost every single Justice League, with the exception of, as I said, a couple of them. And that just pissed me off. And then he goes back and equates the whole thing about, okay, so you've heard of Martian Manhunter. Well, how many of you guys have had sex then? Meaning that only geeks and nerds, and even then, that's not even true because geeks and nerds are cool, are hot, and plus it shouldn't matter if you like something. It shouldn't equate to you not having sex. It doesn't mean because you like the Martian Manhunter that's why you're not having sex. That's a ridiculous thing to say, and the fact is this guy is in charge basically of the DC Universe movies. He wrote Man of Steel. He's writing Batman v Superman, whatever the hell the new title is.
Dawn of Justice.
Too long.
So I mean, we had the discussion last week, and it still galls me a little bit. But the thing that really gets me, besides the fact that here's a strong and powerful woman in She-Hulk, and equating her, the only reason why she was created was to be a sex object, which, yes, She-Hulk has a lot of oozes sexuality. But you know what else? She's a fucking lawyer, okay? She's a fucking lawyer, all right?
Cool. Pass the bar.
Yeah, exactly. You fucking try to go get your law school. Yeah, exactly. So, and pass the bar. See how easy that is, And that just and that irks me. And I am going to eventually. I keep threatening it, but sometime down the line, I'm gonna do just a whole episode of this show, the comic show, based on women in comics and stuff like that. So
definitely.
But so getting back to Marvel again, the Daredevil is going to be the first Netflix show that's going to be made, and this week they cast Daredevil, a guy by the name of Charlie Cox. Charlie Cox, yeah, who was in his first major role was in the movie Stardust, which was based on the Neil Gaiman book.
He also sounds like an old-timey baseball player. Charlie Cox, son.
And he was on Broadway Empire, so you know what? He's got that old time.
I put a cabbage leaf underneath my hat, keep my head cool.
So I mean, I saw him, and once again, it's just like, okay, he doesn't look like Matt Murdock to me, but I guess someone commented, maybe it was you, Jay, I don't know, that Ben Affleck didn't look like Matt Murdock either. So,
honestly, for me, Daredevil's all about the costume. I mean. Yeah, they can't go like creepy blind eye guy. They have to make his eyes look right. So he's going to look like a normal guy and probably just bump into something once. Oh, I just broke my car. Yeah, I think with him it's all going to come down to the costume and the time setting. Because I heard there was something saying about like it'd be a now set one, and then they're talking about it would have been a 70s set one. I'd like to see it in the 70s too, because I think Luke Cage would be pretty badass in the 70s.
Yeah. Yeah, and you get that. You get the Luke Cage, and also Iron Fist sort of has that. During the 70s, they had the whole Kung Fu, Bruce Lee type of thing going on.
Right.
It might that might actually work. Actually, I wouldn't be too upset about that. I mean, it's just how's it going to work in the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe, because they're saying that it's going to be connected to it, but it seemed like up to this point, I mean, they're not in. If it is set in the 70s, they didn't come and help the Avengers when they were in New York during the Avengers against the aliens. I mean, granted, they'd be 10 years, 20 years, 30 years older. Yeah.
He'll still be doing it. I mean, I don't know. He doesn't get older, right? He's just impenetrable, isn't that Luke Cage's whole thing? He's super strong.
Right. Yeah.
And pervious skin. Yeah. So, I could see it, but it could be interesting if they decide to go either way, and I don't know, maybe that's what they decided to end up doing, because the other big news about Daredevil was they lost their showrunner, Drew Goddard, who was a big part of the Joss Whedon team, and I think directed Cabin in the Woods. I think was the one he directed. He's now no longer the showrunner. I thought that was a brilliant idea for him to be showrunner, because I like Drew Goddard's stuff. He was good doing Buffy, and I think he had a lot to do with Firefly also, so I thought he was a good choice. But now they have Stephen DeKnight, Stephen DeKnight, who did work on Buffy also a little bit, but not to the extent that Drew Goddard did. And I guess he still has that connection to Whedon, but I don't know.
Much.
When you change the showrunner before the show starts, I mean, I guess.
Well, he was the showrunner for Spartacus, though, so he does have he has an action background, because Spartacus had some really good scenes going for it, so he was that showrunner, so he is familiar with it. But I just think that it's going to lose that little Whedon-esque touch, by having switching this close to start time. But again, we'll see. Netflix is putting a lot of money into this, and they can afford it. They have a lot of money to put into it, so I don't think that. Either way, it's not going to be some cheap, low-budget production. So I'm looking forward to it.
And I would rather, if they're going to get rid of a showrunner, do it before the thing even starts.
That's true.
Don't.
Right.
I mean, I guess Netflix is different because it's all ready to go in one shot. But you know what I mean? Like halfway through it, they throw somebody else in there. Like, don't just do it right now and be done with it.
And that's true, because they're still in the pre-production phase, so it is absolutely the best time. You don't want to have 2 or 3 episodes done. It's like, oh, wait a second, we're gonna get rid of you and bring somebody else in, because it's gonna cause a little bit of rift or a shift and stuff, and it's gonna show in the series. You're gonna go from, okay, this is what it's been doing, and then here episode 6 rolls around and it's totally different than what had been leading up to it before. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's probably best that they did it then. The last bit of news we'll cover before we get into the meat and potatoes of our conversation today is this one is fairly new also, is the Fantastic Four conspiracy theory. Which I just love the word conspiracy. I guess it's not really a conspiracy, to be honest, but I got this off of Twitter. Comicbook.com is someone I follow on Twitter, and they dropped a news story that Tom Brevoort, who's one of the editors or one of the bigwigs at Marvel, has been defending the company against accusations that it is intentionally downplaying characters whose films and TV rights are tied up with 20th Century Fox. The main one being Fantastic Four. The rumor, and then Bleeding Cool was the one. This started all. They released the story that the Fantastic Four and Ultimate Fantastic Four are going to soon be canceled, and that Marvel has asked that any promo material, anything else featuring the characters like Doctor Doom, like the Invisible Woman, Galactus, all that, be stricken from Marvel publications and their offices until a further date or whatever. And there was one of the reasons why this conspiracy theory came about was there is this unnamed, well, not unnamed, but a secret source who claims to be an artist for, like trading cards or promotional cards that Marvel releases, that they were sent a referendum by, I guess, Brevoort, who said, do not, from this point on, no longer do any FF-connected pictures for these cards or promo materials. We are shutting it down, or we're going a different way, whatever. I don't know. So, so it has a little bit of the conspiracy theory behind it, but here's the thing. Fantastic Four is the beginning of Marvel Comics. They were the very first comic that Marvel did. They are the first family. They've had 2 movies. One was kind of successful, the other one not so much. But they had a cartoon series, back in the 70s, and they've got an upcoming movie from Fox next year. Now, and that's what's strong. The biggest criticism is that the way Marvel has worked is 2008 was about the time when Marvel, I think it was 2008, when Marvel came in and started this run that they've had in the movies with Iron Man and all that, and starting Marvel, productions and stuff like that. So up to that point, if someone wanted to make a movie about, say, a Spider-Man or Fantastic Four or Punisher or whatever, the company would come to Marvel and say, hey, can we buy the rights to your character and make a movie out of them? And at that point, Marvel Productions wasn't even a glimmer in anyone's eye. It's like, yeah, sure, here, we'll take your $500 million or whatever. Sure, you can go ahead and have the rights to.
Have to shut up their doors,
Right.
Right.
Whatever you're buying, please take it from us.
Exactly. So then you've got so then you had the X-Men movies come out. So X-Men are done by someone different. Spider-Man was done by someone different. Then you had the Fantastic Four. You had Blade. You've got Punisher. You got Ghost Rider, and you got all these Marvel movies. And then all of a sudden, 2008 hits. Iron Man hits. It's a huge hit, and it starts Marvel on this rise they've had. But now they're like, you know what? We kind of want to have Spider-Man in one of our movies, or we kind of want to have the X-Men connection, or we want to have the Fantastic Four. But guess what? You sold the rights. You can't. I mean, there's wording in the contract that if they don't make a movie by a certain point, then the rights revert back to you. But
and I think they just barely got Daredevil back.
Right.
That just came back to Marvel, Disney or whoever owns that now.
Exactly. So they have to wait, and Spider-Man, even though the second one didn't do as well as other ones, it still made some big money, so there's still interest out there, and they've already got a whole plan for spin-off movies of that as well. So Spider-Man ain't going to come back to Marvel anytime soon. X-Men just had a huge film with Days of Future Past. They're not coming back, especially with Apocalypse already scheduled for 2016. So it ain't coming back anytime soon. And then you have Fantastic Four, which I think they probably almost got back because the last movie was what? I don't know.
Oh, God. It's been
10 years ago, maybe? I don't know. Maybe not even that. Maybe less than time, but like 8 years ago. But then, Fox decided, hey, why don't we reboot Fantastic Four? But because, hey, look at all these Marvel movies that are making bank. Why don't we make we have this property. under our control. Why don't we do it? So they're making the movie. So Marvel now is as the conspiracy goes. Marvel is saying, well, you know what? Maybe it's Disney and 20th Century Fox are having this battle, not so much Marvel and 20th Century Fox are saying, you know what? We don't like 20th Century Fox, so we're going to screw them, and we're not going to do any Fantastic Four comics, and we're not going to promote their movies, even though they've been promoting the X-Men movies and the Spider-Man movies and stuff like that.
I don't think it's so much of a conspiracy, though, because what is the comic, the New Mutant comic? The instead of X-Men.
Oh, Inhumans.
Inhumans. I mean why was that created? I mean that.
Well, that's so they don't they can make their own X-Men movies. So that they can make their own X-Men movies without using the X-Men name. So
they're already trying to do that blatantly with the X-Men.
Yeah.
So why not think that they would do that with Fantastic Four?
It makes sense, yeah. I'm probably the one who labeled it as conspiracy because I'm a lunatic. But it seemed. But the more I think about it, I was like, it just doesn't seem like Marvel style, you know, because they were promoting Spider-Man and they were promoting X-Men, and you know, why would Fantastic Four be any different? And is it because Fantastic Four is not as popular as X-Men and Spider-Man?
You know what? That's what I was going to say. I mean, I know this isn't going to be very popular, but honestly, I know they're the first family. But personally, I think that the Fantastic Four is like the weakest team out there going.
Yeah, but I think kids really like the Fantastic Four more.
Really?
I
could see those characters interacting with kids.
You know?
Because they are very much like that. They're a family. They have their own kids who are 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. Jay, I'm sorry, you were going to say?
Oh, well, I mean, like, they killed off Human Torch. Like, who cared? You know what I mean? Like, nobody... Yeah, it was literally, like, 1 month. Human Torch is going to die. The issue comes out. Okay.
Nothing happens. Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, we'll bring him back in a month. So we're going to bring him back, just kill him off again in case you guys missed it the first time.
I think I haven't been reading, but they have brought him back, but now he's powerless, so...
Like, come on, I'm powerless.
I just, to me, though, Fantastic...
Slinging it around and getting some all over town, because he's not powerless then. At all.
Instead of the Human Torch, he's just the human.
Yeah.
Like, who wants to read that? It's like, okay, whatever.
But, you know, we'll see. I mean, it's always an interesting... I'd like the Fantastic Four. I mean, I think you need to have a good creative team on it. And but it's gone through so many iterations lately that it's really hard to tell. And it's an old-fashioned style of comic. It's a family together. I mean, a husband and a wife, a brother of brother-in-law, and then a best friend. You know, and they all were in the same boat, and they've all worked together, and they've created a foundation that does help. You know, kids that have power, stuff like that. So yeah, it is a more of a family-oriented thing, and there should be more of that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but what happened was, and I was talking to my wife about this earlier today, is that Brian Michael Bendis, who is like the guy who Marvel is their go-to guy, the Godfather Marvel, whatever. He came on a while back. He was writing Ultimate Spider-Man and was doing a really good job killing it on Ultimate Spider-Man. When they said, hey, you know, what comic would you like to do inside the regular Marvel universe? And instantly he said, I'd like to do the Avengers, because at that time the Avengers was not as popular as it was. It had maybe 1 book, maybe 2 books.
Avengers.
Yeah, and then Brian Michael Bendis was like, these are the most powerful characters in the Marvel universe. It's basically the Justice League in Marvel. So why isn't this series more popular? Yes, the X-Men are more popular because of certain things, but why can't the Avengers be as popular as the X-Men? So he came on, and before you know it, 10, 12 years passes, and the Avengers are now just as popular as the X-Men. If you go to a comic store, it's like Avengers, X-Men, Avengers, X-Men, Avengers, X-Men. Oh yeah, here's some solo shots from people who belong to the X-Men and the Avengers. And then here's Spider-Man. And then here's crossover, because they do a crossover all the time. So.
Axis is coming. Avengers A and X-Men X in it. You get it? The dumbest. I thought Avengers versus X-Men was kind of a dumb name for a whole big crossover thing, but they outdid themselves with Access. Like, that's Hollywood, you know, like It's stupid. Come on, give it something better. Come on, guys. We get better than this.
And that might be one of the issues with the Fantastic Four is that they have not had that certain someone who's come on and said, you know what, we need to reboot this and make it great. They tried it when they had two Fantastic Four issues. They had one that was done by Mike Allred, which was fantastic. It was not your typical Fantastic Four group. It was a different group of four heroes, and they were doing all these offbeat, crazy.
On there.
Was that
Ant-Man, right?
Yeah, he was in there. Yeah, Ant-Man was in that one. And then and She-Hulk was there too, I think. So I think it was an interesting team, an interesting idea, and it didn't sell. And then the other Fantastic Four proper wasn't selling either. And then it's starting to go downhill again. I mean, I think you need to have a good creative team to come in and refurbish it. And maybe this whole article is much ado about nothing, because maybe that's what they're planning. Maybe because next year is when Fantastic Four comes out. You know, and maybe they're planning on this big major reboot. Maybe they're trying to get somebody, like, say, I don't know, maybe a Grant Morrison or a Warren Ellis or someone you did not even expect to take over the Fantastic Four and bring it up to its potential. But it's just the fact that there are just some, and maybe the reason why they said, hey, don't do anything with, you know, the Fantastic Four and your promotional stuff like that, because they're going to unveil a whole brand new costumes and storylines, and they want to get the right you know, art team and writing team, and then maybe they're going to skew it more towards the movie. Then maybe they will have Johnny Storm be black now. Maybe they'll figure out a way to make him black, or maybe they're going to basically do a reboot. Maybe they'll kill off the original FF and then have a new come on. I don't know. Is it possible? Sure. It wouldn't put it past me. I wouldn't put it past Marvel thinking that's what they're going to do. So it was just an interesting story that I came across. I thought it'd be neat to talk about. So,
or maybe they're just trying to choke the team off, and just to make the movie flop bad enough that they can then go swoop in and buy the rights back for pennies on the dollar.
Their Fantastic Four's problem is they never are in any other books at all. Like, and it's like, well, I mean, you get Thing, on New Avengers. I don't even know if he's on New Avengers anymore. But like, and that's about it. So it's like, well, everybody else is in everybody's books. I mean, Deadpool is probably in 30 titles a month. Like, why can't Mr. Fantastic, who's supposed to be one of the smartest people in the world, be, pop in there, or even Sue Storm or Franklin? He's smart too. Put him up with a Spider-Man or at Horizon Labs for a minute, and something like that. But like, it's just you never see him at all.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, it's just maybe just a failure in how they control the character, and I guess that happens to a lot of characters. They're characters that have potential. You just need to find the right writer to bring it about, and that's not as easy as people think it is. So.
I would love to see it as like a family sitcom.
No, I think it would be, yeah.
Like everyday life of the Fantastic Four. Who made it?
One of my favorite comics. One of my favorite comics that they released a while back was the Franklin Richards comics, which was drawn by Chris Eliopoulos, and it was basically that, Nicole. It was focused on Franklin as he was going through all the stuff that's going on, but it had that family oriented type of style to it. And it was great. It was such a great series, and it made it a lot of fun. And that was the other thing also. That was one of the things back in the 80s and 90s. One of the things I absolutely loved was the Fantastic Four crossing over with Power Pack. Now I love Power Pack. And when they brought Franklin Richards in as becoming a member of Power Pack, and then making the Powers become friends of the Richards, that made the comic that much better, and I loved that. And then you got to see Franklin hanging out with kids closer to his age, and then still have your superhuman parents just acting like regular parents, hanging out with your neighbors. The neighbors drinking beer and having barbecues and just hanging out on out in front of your stoop and just chatting. Yeah, I think they really should. I agree with that. I think that would be fantastic. And you can make it similar to Tiny Titans. Tiny Titans is one of the absolute best family-oriented comics out there, and I'm so happy they're coming back in a 6-issue miniseries or something like that. I'm so excited because I read them to my daughter and she loves them. She absolutely loves them. And I love them. I think they're great. You could do something like that. And then the Chris Heliopolis stuff was great also. Franklin Richards, like they did it around the holidays, Christmas special, and it would be like a whole bunch of little vignettes where they brought in Robbie the robot as his dog, that was the big thing that everybody hated in the 70s cartoon series. They didn't, well, no, not everybody, they're saying no because they cut out the Human Torch because everybody was afraid that kids would light themselves on fire and become the Human Torch. So instead they brought in a robot, the fourth member of the Fantastic Four, and everyone's hated Robbie the robot, but Chris Heliopolis was really good. It says, I'm going to bring him in and be like Franklin's constant companion, it's like his dog, basically.
Right.
I think that's brilliant.
I'm going to set myself on fire right now. Yeah. That's awesome.
If it were me, I would go the complete opposite direction.
What would you do?
Oh no, I would have it like a romantic drama with. I'd have Namor come in trying to steal Sue Storm away from Reed.
Oh yeah, Namor's been hounding that for a long time.
No, I would put that on film any day. I'd be like, yeah, this is where we're going with this.
I mean, in all reality, though, after all these years, you don't think Namor like kind of was like, oh, I grabbed her boob and like, oh, I'm sorry, I just bumped into you. Like, come on.
He's running around making her say Imperious Rex all the time.
Oh, Sue, I didn't even see you there. You must have been invisible.
You're invisible.
I'm just trying to dry you off. Here. You dry it off all over. There you go.
Yeah.
Here, help me just grab your ass here. I think you got some sand in your butt. There you go.
He was loving when she had that, like, that 4 cut out with her boob. Yeah, so, you know what? I think you might need a little less costume than that. What else can we cut out on here?
Oh, jeez. Oh, that's funny. So that's the news for the day. A good way to end it, actually. So what we're going to get to now is the meat of the stuff. Comic conventions. Raise your hands if you've been to a comic convention. MJ, you ever been to a Comic-Con?
I have not, and it's like, like I said before, Heroes is like right here in my hometown, and that's the one I'm planning. I want to go to that, but I've just haven't done it yet. So
go to a Wizard's World.
No.
Wizard's World's the standard. It's like the McDonald's of cons. It's the exact thing. No, that's a good thing. That's the same one every place.
Oh goodness, Nicole's
Jay's,
no, she's a snob about it. I like. It's
terrible.
It's not terrible. It's a fun time. I've had fun times there.
And of course, I have a soft spot in my heart for Baltimore Con because it's not affiliated with Wizard World, and it's more comic book oriented than a lot of the cons are because and what's really cool is the guy who created it and started it owns a comic shop right down the street from my house. So I see him almost every day when I go in there to the comic store. I know he's right by there, and he knows me. I'm one of his regulars, so he makes fun of me. I once came in wearing a yellow Hawaiian shirt, and he was calling me like, "Yo, look at you, Sinestro! Oh, you're burning my eyes!" He's a great guy. The whole staff at my local comic store is fantastic, and but he's the guy who created the Baltimore Con and still runs it. And I have a really big feeling of pride because when you ask any comic creator their top 5 cons, Heroes is in there, Baltimore Comic-Con is in there. Those are pretty much the 2 you can basically place. I mean, anywhere. It could be number 1, could be number 5. It doesn't matter. It's in their top 5. That's all that it matters. Is those 2 are the ones. And the reason why is because they are more oriented towards the creative end. So, like, the Baltimore Con is actually kind of boring if you go into it, to be honest. It's at our convention center, which is no longer new. It was new about maybe 10 years ago, but now it's old. And you come in and just basically you walk in. There's all the comic, the sales of the comics. All the vendors are here. And you walk down here, and there's just rows and rows and rows of of the creators, writers, artists, stuff like that. And then you've got the guys who are on the periphery circling the room, the guys who are trying to make it. They're self-publishing, or they're trying to get noticed by the big wigs to get shown. And there's some little other stuff here and there, but that's it. And then we do also things where you can go in and have meetings with the creators, and you talk about their show, their upcoming stuff, and like that. We have costume contest shows, but it's great. It's a lot of fun. I mean, as I said, it's boring. You can go in there, and spend maybe like 2 hours in there, and you've pretty much done everything. But it's fun though. I mean, they love it because everyone is going, and they're just talking about the comics. They're not talking about comic book movies. They're not talking about TV shows like that. They're talking about the comics themselves. You've got the writers, artists. I mean, the guest list is always amazing. They always get great people to come in. They had Stan Lee, I think, last year. They've had Jim Lee, who doesn't really do a lot of cons. I don't think he was in there also. And they always get the same guys also. Jimmy Palmiotti is always there with Amanda Conner. They're always there. Greg Capullo and Scott Snyder have been there the last couple years. So it's just a fun time, and it's a good time. And the good thing this year, for the first time ever, it's going to be 3 days long. It used to be 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. Now it's going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I'm excited. But that's the main con I've gone to.
And that's what New York Comic Con's doing this year. They're making a second one, like an auxiliary one, and it's just artist alleys and basically like that, all the other nonsense, the T-shirts, that's not there. Like, it's just for creators, artists, everybody right there. Yeah. It's pretty much the same thing. Like,
I like that. I mean, I like that a lot because that's before, and I'll be the first person. I've never been to San Diego. I want to go to San Diego sometime just to experience it. And the very first con I ever went to was Chicago Comic-Con back in the 80s, and it was a birthday present, 15, 16, something like that. My dad and mom decided that they wanted to, instead of giving me a lot of presents, they gave me this trip to Chicago Comic-Con. They knew I was a big comic fan. My dad and my dad's not a big flyer, so we drove to Chicago 12 hours. Well, he drove because I wasn't old enough yet. He drove to Chicago. We got a room in the same hotel where the con was. It was a much smaller con. It's not C2E2 or whatever it is like that. It was a much smaller con, and that's basically what it was. It was creators and vendors. And being 14, 15, my first con, I was like, oh my God, this is so awesome, and I love that. And then the Baltimore Con, when that started up, I would go to that. I haven't gone every year, but I've gone a lot because it's it's not right down the street, but it's not that far away, half hour away. And then when I worked at Diamond, this was always cool. I actually got to work a couple of cons, which was something I'd never experienced before. My account base was California, Alaska, and a lot of the West Coast things. So I went to Long Island Comic-Con, which was affiliated with Wizard World at that time, I think. And that was the first con I actually worked, and that was an experience in itself. I had, they paid for my hotel, they paid for my airline ticket, they gave me a stipend, and I only had to work a certain amount of time. I could take a break for an hour or whatever, walk around, peruse, talk to people. It was fun. And then I did Boston for them also, the Boston Comic-Con for them, and I did Philadelphia for them also. So I have some con experience, but not quite as much as you guys. So tell me, 5 years straight now with San Diego. Had you gone before then, or was 5 years ago your first time ever?
First time. Yeah. We usually just did like the local, like the Philadelphia cons and all that, and then then it just exploded from there.
And once you go to San Diego.
Yeah, you go to San Diego, and then it's like, well, what's this one like? What's this one like? What's this one like? Yeah.
It's like San Diego's like the pinnacle, and.
Yeah. Now, a couple years ago.
I mean, it's the pinnacle, but not.
It's not necessarily the best. Yeah, it's big.
Like you said, like Baltimore was, very comic focused, and then Dragon Con was fan focused. I mean, anything you were interested in,
cosplayers and
you could find. I mean, I was belly dancing one day, building a robot the next. I mean. So that was cool.
But that's like a Tuesday and Wednesday at our house anyway, so not a big deal.
But I mean, so as much as San Diego is glorified now, I think by everybody, I think you could be really disappointed if you go there.
Well, if you go there on a budget, if you go there broke, you're going to be disappointed. For one, you're going to be real
No,
disappointed.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Nah, you go in there, you see everything. It's like whatever. I gotta buy it.
He needs his toys. Like, look behind us.
Did you see the Pacific Rim exclusive ones, exclusive action figures that are coming out by NECA this year for Comic-Con?
No, I haven't seen it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's like just the three. It's Cherno Alpha, Gypsy Danger, and I think Striker Eureka, but they're just black. They're all three blacked out action figures, and it has like a little diorama thing. It's supposed to be at like the end credits scene, and it just looks so bad. The packaging's awesome. I can't wait.
This is his priority.
I know.
We all have to have them.
The closer we get to con, it's like my list is just growing and growing and growing. Like,
because in reality, Baltimore and Dragon Con, they don't have those things.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they don't have the exclusive toys. They don't have. They might have like an exclusive cover here and there, but nothing too major. Which is fine, and that's one of the reasons why like these Wizard World shows they always have. They seem to have some kind of exclusives and other ones as well. But San Diego is like the if that's what you like, that's like it. I mean, you get, and not just action figures, as you said, Jay. You've got comics, you got statues, you've got maybe some T-shirts. They've got all kinds of con exclusives that a lot of people go to San Diego just to get those maybe and try to make some money. So they go out there, they get them, they put them up on eBay, and they're going for like $150, $200, which is dumb in my opinion, but.
That too.
Yeah.
Because it's like, let somebody that you don't need 6, giant Galactuses in one shot. You're going to sell them. People know you're going to sell them. Like,
so that's why it's disappointing because a lot of people don't know that the floor isn't open until a certain time. But people that own, like their own table and they sell things there, they have badges, but they can easily get, well, not easily, but they can get a San Diego Comic-Con regular badge, and the minute the floor turns open, they can just flip their badge and put a regular person badge on and get in line. So they own, and then they're first in line, and then they buy all the toys.
Oh, okay.
People that are outside that are actually waiting in line, they can't, and then they have to buy the toys from the stand that they already doubled the price.
Yeah. Last year.
So that's why it can be disappointing. People don't know a lot of the secret stuff that happens.
The line, like last year on preview night, the Mattel line, and Mattel is usually the biggest booth there for exclusive stuff. The Mattel line was capped in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
So the doors opened and the line was capped. So it's like, well, how did these people?
They were
in there. Yeah, they were already there.
So.
I got you.
Yeah. So you know what? I don't like to do this, but I pull my handicap card at Comic-Con, and there's no shame in my game. I will jump on.
Well, you gotta fight fire with fire sometimes. If that's the case, it's gonna be. You gotta do it.
And we don't sell them. We don't buy extras.
I'm buying stuff for me, and it's like, sorry, buddy, if you're trying to buy 15, Deadpool taco trucks.
We know what you're doing.
I know what you're doing, man, and I'm gonna get mine.
You don't have 15 kids at home.
Yeah, one way or another, I'm gonna get mine.
Yeah, and we've seen people too have kids buy. So like there's a limit. Yeah. So they'll hand their kid their credit card, which should be illegal because technically a kid can't use your credit card. So there's a lot of shady stuff going on where you could be really disappointed. Plus, like waiting in lines for panels and things like that.
Yeah, because it's like you want to wait for your toys that you might not get, or you want to wait in line for a panel that you might not get into.
Yeah. There's a big warning on the fact that
you definitely got to have
patience
and a plan.
Low expectations. Yeah. And be ready for whatever you get.
Yeah. Actually, you need a plan. Don't go with it.
Go with the plan.
I don't have.
Be open.
I like to go willy nilly and just. I'm a floor guy and to like walk around and like, oh, what's this? Something shiny and because the one year I was just off on my own pretty much the whole con and I was running like. There was famous people everywhere. Yeah. I'm just bumping into them.
That's the number one rule, though. It's do you. at San Diego Comic-Con because we come in a big group. And if you want to do something, remember, it's all 120,000 fans. So if you say, well, I want to go by myself to see something and no one wants to come with me, remember, when you get there, there's going to be 5,000 other people that like S.H.I.E.L.D. So they're with you. You're not alone anymore. You know, there's no reason to drag someone with you when they want to do something else.
Yeah, do you is a good, good thing. It's worked for years for us.
Yeah, do you. We might not even see each other for days.
Literally, we woke up, okay, you're doing this, I'm doing this, we'll meet up for lunch somewhere maybe, you know, and I got a little vacation into my vacation.
Me too.
But do you have some type of, I don't know, you go into it with like a map or something in mind that you want to do, or do you literally just, because I would think if I just walked into something like that, I'd be so overwhelmed I wouldn't accomplish anything.
Yeah. So what you want to do is decide what your priorities are. So like if panels are your priority, you need to know ahead of time like where you need to sit in line, like before the day even starts, basically most of the time now. Like if like probably Avengers 2 is probably going to have a panel this year, I'm guessing. So I would say that's going to be an overnight line.
Wow.
So you're going to have to know that the day before. Like I like to wait in line for autographs, and that's an overnight line too. So I sleep out on the curb. And you have to know where to go. And that's a downfall because if you don't know where to go, you'll show up when this floor opens thinking, well, okay, well, it just opened. How could anyone be ahead of me?
And they do.
And everyone's there. But the other thing, too, is like with the autographs, you pull a raffle ticket. So I last year I slept out online, and I got up for Game of Thrones. I pulled my raffle ticket, and I didn't win.
Still no guarantee.
So I'd say about an hour later, I was in the bathroom crying because someone was like, "No, you can't go out this door." And I tried to get a Lego, and I didn't win an exclusive Lego, and nothing was going my way. And I'm like, all year I've been looking forward to San Diego Comic-Con, and now I'm crying in a bathroom.
Yeah, you did at the airport. But you got hooked up.
That's why I say you got to go with the flow, because the next day I met Tom Cruise. And then on the way home, I met George R.R. Martin in the airport.
Flying Southwest, by the way.
Flying Southwest.
I have to. Like, I don't think you really need to. And, got layovers and shit.
And, and I just explained, like, look, I slept out on the concrete, and I wanted to meet you, and I didn't get a chance, and I had to take the risk, so.
Yeah, he was chatting her up for a good 15
really
minutes,
nice. But that's why I say, like, you really kind of do, like, especially if it's your first year, you're not going to know where the line is. But the great thing is, though, don't be shy. Like, I know it's hard to tell nerds, geeks, dweebs, and people that have been put in the corner and picked last their whole life to walk up to people, but we're all those people. Yeah. So we're all friendly. Like, I know there's this huge thing online about preventing harassment and all that at Comic-Con. I have never had anyone say a bad word to me about anything. And I tell everyone, like, if you're in the area and you don't have tickets and you just want to hang out with cool people, just come, because we're all eating lunch there, we're all having dinner, we're all hanging out. Like, it's the best group of people you'll ever meet, and that's what made me want to go to more conventions, because I was like, these are my people, I'm safe here.
Most common question at con. What's this line for?
Yeah, what's this line for?
What's this line for? And all of a sudden, you got 50 friends standing there, like.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, hey, you're waiting for the same thing. That's cool.
And if you're lucky, you get to hold the sign that says "End of the line."
Yeah.
So
and at night, you'll see people put signs out that say what they're in line for, because people were getting woken up last year. Like, excuse me, what are you in line for?
I'm in line for sleeping.
So, yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot. You can get lost. The first year we were lost, and we missed a lot, and then we learned. So, but.
Yeah, so having a plan is always a good idea. Now, that's just San Diego. A lot of the other cons out there are quite not as insane, as big as that. But I mean, it's still smart idea is to have a plan of what you want to do. You don't
Right.
just want to go in willy-nilly and say, okay, I'm just going to wander around a little bit. In places like Baltimore, you can do that because basically all it is comics and creators. So
Right.
you wander through the comics for a little while, see if there's any good deals. Then you can go chat up the people hanging out, doing the writing and stuff like that. What's great is that this year I haven't been to Baltimore in a couple years. I'm going to go this year,
Yeah.
and there have been a few people that I've been talking to on Twitter who always go to Baltimore. I'm going to meet up with them. We're going to hang out, maybe hang out for a little bit, maybe go out get a drink or something like that. 'Cause that's the other fun thing also, because as you said, you meet a whole bunch of new people, and they all have this. Yeah, they have the same likes you do, and a lot of the creators are really cool also. I mean, especially in a place like Baltimore, where it's a little less low key and not quite so as insane, and there's 120,000 people coming at you. You only get maybe like 35,000 or whatever coming at you, and even then, they're not everybody's coming to see you, but they're a lot better about, okay, you want a picture? Okay, I'll make you a picture, or hey, you want to take a picture with me? I'd absolutely love to take a picture with you. There have been times when people have gone out to a bar or something like that, and look, there's Jimmy Palmiotti right there. So it's just if you have the balls or whatever, go up and say, hey, how you doing? Are you Jimmy Palmiotti? And more than likely he'll be like, yeah, it's cool, come on down, and he'll start chatting with you. I've heard a lot of good things about a lot of these a lot of the creators, that they're just like normal people. They're not all superstars. They're just regular people.
I've been wanting to do it for a couple of years now, but I just haven't had the balls to do it. When you find somebody that you want to get a picture with, hey, can I get a picture? And then you give them your camera, and they take your picture. I mean, one, it's funny, and then it's like, oh, well, blah 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 took this picture for me, and I just have the balls to do it.
That's awesome. He's trying that this year.
Funny, clever. I mean, somebody's gonna remember that, somewhere down the line, even if it's,
Well, that's one of my San Diego tips. Is
that's fun.
always look your best when you go out in San Diego, because you run into so many famous people, and it's embarrassing for
have
me.
somebody that knows how to take a picture.
Well, that too. But it's always embarrassing for me to ask. It's really hard to ask someone. Like I met from Game of Thrones. Guy who died at the Red Wedding.
Oh, John Stark and Theon.
Stark. Rob Stark.
Rob and Theon.
And Rob and Theon in the elevator, and I was just so embarrassed because it's like, I mean, I didn't really want the picture, but the Big Bang Theory before it didn't happen. Right. I was like, if I don't get this picture, people are gonna think it didn't happen. So we took the worst picture ever. Whatever, it totally happened.
No, our one friend that comes with us, I mean. It's usually we usually split up, like the guys will go do something and the girls do their own thing. So I'm his picture man, he's my picture man, and he takes the most horriblest.
It's amazing.
There's every picture that I'm in, like I'm meeting like wrestlers, and like everybody knows that wrestling's my thing, and I'm meeting wrestlers, and it's like I look like I'm like a mental patient. I'm all.
They're blurry.
Or
he thinks it's a video camera every time. He's like,
I'm totally blurry, and then the person next to me is clear.
Yeah.
Like,
it
just burns. It's like, oh, dude, like, you suck.
I love it.
Oh, here, I'll take a couple of them, and they're all horrible. And it's like, like, hey, here's me with Daniel Bryan, the champ, and it's like, that's not you. That's it's a blur.
Could be anybody.
Could be anybody.
Picture tape.
Another survival tip I have, and I guess you guys can agree with me on this, is always hold on to your ticket or your entrance, whatever pass, because the concession stands at the cons are outrageously expensive, as is everything else. A bottle of water is like $3. It's like going to a baseball game or a football game. And then usually where the cons are, usually in a big city or something like that, like the Baltimore one, you just walk out of the convention center. You just go a couple blocks. You're at the Inner Harbor. You can go get a bottle of water for $1 if you want to, or you can go get a hot dog or something that costs $1 instead of the one that's like $2.50 or $3 inside the con. But you see, the thing is, they know that a lot of people want to stay in there for the panels, or just don't want to leave. They just want to hang out and stuff like that. So you got to eat eventually. So some cons will let you bring in some snacks, but there's some that are very, very no, you can't do that, and so that's the ones I have. Is always keep a hold of your tickets so you can get back into the con, because
Gotcha.
The last time I went to Baltimore, it's been a couple years. I was able to. One of the pluses of having the guy who runs it up the street was he was offering advanced ticket sales at his store. So you could go to his store, you could buy your tickets for both days, one day, whatever. And I just went to the store one day and said, hey, yeah, I'll take two tickets. I was going to meet a friend of mine, and so I said, let's buy 2 tickets. So I bought 2 tickets, and I get down there on the day of the con, and there's just this massive line. I mean, going from the ticket booth, there's like 3 or 4 of them inside the con, up all these little staircases and stuff like that, these ramps, stuff like that. Then it whittles around here, and it goes outside, and then it's like multiple lines outside. So I was just like, yeah, I got my ticket, so I just strolled on in, walked past everybody, just walked down the stairs, went to the entrance, said, here's my ticket. They're like, here you go, snap.
Yeah.
I just walked right in. 2 minutes.
And that's how like Philly Comic Con is with the eating stuff, because you're inside, it's convention center nasty hot dogs, and you walk right out, literally across the street from the convention center is the Reading Terminal Market, which it's got to be the best place to eat in the whole city, because you can have anything you want.
It's been on the Food Network a million times.
There's probably 500 restaurants in this place, and it's like you're going to charge me $8 for a hot dog, where I can go over there and like get
get a full meal for $8.
It has to be the best place to eat in the whole city, absolutely, because they have so many different things there, so many different restaurants.
It's very convenient for visitors.
Convenient.
It's
it's awesome food. Every place in there is good.
Yeah.
Like, why am I going to pay? I'm not paying $5 for a dumb pretzel, Yeah.
So now, how many cons do you normally go to a year now? I mean, you've been doing this for a while now. How many cons do you tend to hit a year?
So this was my first year of adventuring out to all of the different ones. And I think this year it was San Diego first. Well, it was Philly first, and then it was San Diego, Dragon Con, Baltimore, New York, WonderCon,
Monster Mania.
Monster Mania.
Dylan, have you been to Monster Mania?
No, I haven't. Where is that one?
There's one that comes up by your way. It's an awesome con. It's a horror con.
Fun.
And it's so much fun. It's real small. They usually have a bigger name horror people there. Like Tony Todd was the big name for this year in Philly. But I think maybe Robert Englund's going to be there this year. That's a real fun con for into horror stuff. I know.
What was cool that for my birthday last year was my 40th birthday, and for my birthday, my wife Dawn bought us tickets to Parafest, which is kind of similar to what that was. It was the first time they did it. It's up in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and at the casino up there, and it was a combination of reality show, paranormal stuff like Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures and stuff like that, and horror people. Tony Todd was there. I can't remember. There was a ton. I mean, there was a lot of people there, and that was an interesting experience because Dawn has never gone with me to Baltimore Con, and she's never really been to any conventions. So that was the first one we actually went to together. Our kids were with my in-laws for the weekend, so it was just a nice little getaway for us, and it was awesome. And we met Larissa Daphne Dew, who's my co-host of my paranormal show. She was there, and we hung out with her and got to meet. I got to meet Jay Hawes, and I got to meet the other guy who used to run Ghost Hunters, and Dave and Tango were there. Tango was there, and Steve was there. If you like that kind of stuff. And then you got like Tony Todd, who's sitting there also, and you got just all these iconic horror people. And then and for those who watch Face Off, the one of the guys who came in second in the last, not the one that just happened, but two seasons ago when it was the Returners, he was there, and he was giving away zombie makeup for the zombie prom that was that day. So it was and it was interesting. It was quite different. So I'll have to check that out. So Jay, do you know where exactly is Monster?
No. You know what? I'll tweet it to you later, though. Okay. It's one in Cherry Hill, and then it's one in I want to say Baltimore.
I mean, it's possible. Baltimore does pretty good with some of their cons. I mean,
yeah, I'll tweet it to you later because I know they're just started announcing more guests coming out. So.
let's see. Anything else? See, I mean, and I guess if you just want to be aware of stuff that's going on in the cons, and see if there's like a amount of stuff, because sometimes some people put caps on how many books you can get signed. You know, if you want to get books signed by the artists, writers, there are some places that do. I don't think Baltimore does. But at the same time, though, you don't want to be a dick, you know? You don't want to come with a backpack full of comics and say, here, it's a complete run of Batman. I need you to sign a Greg Capullo or something like that.
Well, I know Jay doesn't really have his comic signed because of the whole grading issues.
If I'm going to get a book graded, I'm not going to get it signed. I feel like, I don't know, maybe it does add value, but I feel like you're defacing it. And it's subtracting value to it. Like I got an Iron Man comic, Demon in a Bottle. You know the cover. Tony's looking in the mirror with the bottle there and an Iron Man mask. And I graded, and I'm not now. I don't want to sound like an asshole too. Now, it wasn't signed by anybody. When it came back to me, it was signed by Stan Lee. Now. Yeah, that's cool and all, but like I didn't want you to sign in my books. I don't know how it got signed. And frankly, I don't care anymore. But it's like I didn't want it. I feel I'm
strong about that.
Yeah, and it's like I said, I feel like an asshole by saying it. But it's like, okay, Stan Lee, you're whatever, but no.
You deface my book.
Yeah. And like I've been looking for this book for a while because I wanted the cover. And it's like, okay, now you're on there, and it didn't even grade that high anyway, so I was kind of bummed out about that. But.
And there's something odd about that, though, is because Stan Lee didn't even write that story or draw it, and that's what I always, I don't do it anymore, but that's what I used to go for, is that I would only give, like, if Peter David wrote a book,
right.
I would want Peter David to sign it, or if Bob Layton drew the book, I would want Bob Layton to sign it. I don't want Stan Lee, who had nothing to do with it except maybe he created the character, to sign it, because why? Why would you do that? And as I said, I don't do that anymore now. It's more along the lines of just going there and just chatting with the guys and talking to them about, you know, being a big fan, you know, and you do. It's okay to get fanboyish on them, you know. It's okay to say how cool you are. Oh, that's the one, okay.
That's the one.
Oh, okay.
There he is. So he signed it right there. But then it's like you said. It says David McLeany's story, John Romita Jr., Bob Layton art, Bob Layton cover. Well, why is Stan Lee signing this? There's no business signing that.
It was a mess up that day because they had, you know, they grade only ones that they know are verified signed, and they must have slipped his in the pile by accident.
Yeah, I think when I was turning it in, Stan Lee got done doing a signing. And I think somebody must have thought, well, oh, this was with all the Stan Lee stuff. This probably should have been signed and made it happen. And then I got it back. But like I said, like I didn't want it signed. I had a Mark Waid cover signed, and I was more hyped about that than this. Sorry, Stan.
No, another. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jeff.
Once in a while, please. You know, you don't have to be in every fucking thing that says Marvel on it. Like, just. So
I have to ask: are you going to bring the kids to Baltimore?
I still don't think I'm ready for that yet because they are at that age where it's going to be exciting for them for maybe like a half an hour.
See, that's what we do, like a separate day with my niece, you know, for her, and then we do a day for us at Philly because it's close enough. But actually, my niece has been to San Diego Comic-Con, and she went to Baltimore, and you know what she said about Baltimore? She said, "Is this the old Comic-Con when she was?" I felt so bad. I'm like, no. Like, well, no, we're going to have fun. Don't worry.
Well, we did go into a burger place the other day. As soon as we hit the door, she says, "What's that awful smell?" Yeah, that's going to be your food, so.
Yes. It's cooking flesh.
Yeah.
So she has a lot of con experience.
It does sound like, yeah, I mean, it's something that maybe down the line I will, because I have gotten my daughter into reading some of the and reading some comics and getting some. In fact, she had her dance recital yesterday, and I got her. They did believe it or not, they have a Littlest Pet Shop comic which just came out, which is those are toys for kids that are like these little animals and they're like pretty and they have fluffy hair and you can comb them. So my daughter has like 30, 40, 50 of them. So okay, it's kind of cool. So I got that as well as some flowers for her dance recitals like that. And she'd probably be interested. But as I said, one of the reasons why I want to go is not only to meet, and you know what, kids would probably be the best to bring to a con because you could go to the writers and artists and they'll be like, oh, look, it's so cute, and they'll talk to you and they'll want their picture taken with the little kid and they'll draw pictures for the kid without asking and they'll be like, oh, thank you, because everybody loves kids, So if you want to do that, it might be an easy way to break the ice with some people because I still get nervous, going up to writers and artists and talking to them about stuff. But you bring your daughter with you, your son with you, whatever, and say, yeah, this is their first time. Oh, you having a good time? And they start just talking to them. And she's like, okay, this makes it a whole lot easier to break the ice. But the reason why I usually go to the cons, and it is partially to meet the creators, but I've realized recently with my financial issues, because being a grown-up sucks, as you all know. We have mortgages and grocery bills and water bills and cable bills, stuff like that. So you make money and then it all disappears out the water. So comics have always been sort of I'll buy what I can, but there might be weeks where I might not be able to buy stuff. There might be months where I might not be able to buy stuff, and that kills me being a collector. So what I do then is for these cons, I usually go and I have my list. And these are the comics I need to get that I haven't gotten for like 6 months or whatever to complete my collection, because that's my issue. I'm a completist. I'm a collection guy. I need to have every issue, so I need to find them. And that's what some cons are good for. And that's what Baltimore cons especially good for. Is you go to these places and you might find really good deals on. Now another tip for everybody out there, for you MJ also, if you want to go and buy some comics, Sunday, the last day of the con, 3 o'clock. A couple of hours before the end of the show, go to. Oops, we lost Jay and Nicole. They got bored with my conversation. But no, you go to the vendors, because what they're trying to do is they don't want to return. They don't want to bring all this stuff back with them. So they're going
to get rid of it.
They'll slash price. They'll say, you know what, this was $5. Tell you what, I'll give it to you for $2. Or now they have. They had boxes of, buy 5 for $1. They might make it 10 for $1 or 20 for $1. So then you go in and you grab what you can, or you make them a deal. It's like, you know what, this says $7. I really only have like $5. Is it okay if I give you that? Hi guys.
Hey, we're
Welcome back. Hey.
And we're back.
Back and better than ever.
I was just telling MJ that what I like to do is the best time to go to get comics is on the last day of con, about an hour or two before the end of con, before they have to shut down.
That's when the happens.
Yeah, they will go absolutely crazy. You want 10 comics for 5 cents? Here, you can have them. I need to get them out of here. I don't want to take these back with me.
Yeah.
One of my best wheeling dealings on a Sunday afternoon. Nick Fury replica gun, wooden case, glass. It lights up. The gun comes. It's fucking badass. The needle gun, the real deal.
Oh,
Nick
nice.
Fury.
Wow.
And it has a little shield case. $60.
Wow.
$60. It was retailing for more than $60. I know, because this is all metal. The case is what's up. End of the day, the guy, I said, how much you really want to take for it? He's him and I said, I'll give you $60 for it right now. Done. Sundays are awesome for shop.
And it was really great is when I was working at Diamond one year, one of my accounts from California was coming to Baltimore because after the Baltimore Comic-Con, Diamond used to have these retailer summits like the next couple days where they had retailer summit exclusives, but then it was also a way to talk to the Diamond hierarchy and say, hey, this is what we want to do to help make the comic industry better. And so he was coming from California to do that, but he said, I don't have enough money to bring somebody to come help me. Would you be willing to help me be my employee for the whole weekend of con? He'll get me an employee badge, he'll pay me under the table. if I would do it. So I said, hell yeah, I'll do it. So I went then. I went in on Saturday morning, helped him. He was already pretty much set up by himself, but I helped him finish up the setup. And then I worked with him for the whole day Saturday. He gave me like an hour break for lunch, and then I was in charge for an hour while he took a break for lunch, And then I came back on Sunday. I had a dealer badge and everything, and we worked that. And then I had to help him close up. And it's insane when you have to close up because you have to be out by a certain time. So you got to get all your boxes boxed up. You got to get the tables broken down. You got to get your cars into the facility. You got to load up your cars. You got to get out of there. Now, to make it even funnier, or even more interesting, it was the year that Serenity came out, the Firefly movie, and we were giving away passes to a special screening for the vendors at the Charles Theater. And I asked him, hey, do you want some? It's like, yeah, why not? Because he was going to be in town anyway for the summit. He just needed to get all the stuff packed up and out of the con. I said, yeah, I'll do it. So this was like at 5 o'clock. The show was at like 6 o'clock. So we had to hightail it, finish up packing everything. And he made it eventually. I think he was a little late to the beginning of the film, but he made it though. But I mean, he gave me, I don't know, he gave me like $150 under the table, I think, and then he gave me this is when Black Panther #1 came out, which was written by Reginald Hudlin with art by John Romita Jr. and I loved it. He had the variant cover, which I really wanted, that he was selling for like $15. He gave it to me for free. So like, here you go, you got that, and then he gave me $150 on top of that on the table in cash from his bin for helping him. And then I think he took me out to dinner on Saturday night after the first night of the con. So it was great. I mean, it was a lot of fun. So I've experienced that end of it as well. So I experienced that end of it. I experienced the end where I was a brand manager for Diamond, and we went to PhillyCon, and we had to go. We had to talk to all the guys and gals who were self-publishing their books, and they had to basically sell their book to us to see if we would be interested in putting them into previews and putting them out there and getting a run like that. So me and Philip, who I've mentioned before on the show, Philip now is a big wig at Boom Studios, and he was a big part of Top Cow for a while. But he was my mentor for the most part, and we went there together. We were the ones representing Diamond at the PhillyCon, and so we went there and we were just going up and down the aisles and talking to these people. They were trying to sell it to us, and we were asking them questions. They were asking us questions. So I think we got a couple people. We took samples of their comic and we gave it to all the other brand managers. That's how we made our decision. They would read it, say, yeah, I think this would be good, or no, it's a piece of crap. Let's not do it. So I've done that. I've done that aspect of it, and then when I went to Long Beach Con out in California, I was doing it as my customer service rep, so I was meeting all my accounts who happened to be there also, and they all wanted to take me to dinner, take me out for a drink and stuff like that, so it's kind of cool. So I've been lucky enough to have experienced all different aspects of it, and the one thing that is always going to kill me is I quit being a brand manager after 9 months because it was just too hard for me. It was a really tough job. It was too hard for me. But if I would have stayed, I was going to be in line to go to San Diego that year. I was like, I would have gone to San Diego. I also would have gone to, I think it's ApeCom, which is an independent thing out in Washington or Oregon or something like that. I was in line to do that also. I was like, oh, man, I could have just stayed on for a little while longer. I would have been okay.
You'll get there, and it'll be amazing.
Yeah, and we got to get MJ to a con sometime.
Yeah, cool.
Definitely. Like I said, the Heroes Con is here in Charlotte, so there's really no excuse for me not to go. And the more I talk to everybody, the more excited I get. So, yeah.
Heroes Con, is one of the good ones. I mean, it's big, but it's not huge. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's just the right. It's the right level. So.
It can be my training wheels con.
Yeah. I honestly, I would say go to a wizard. Go to a wizard. Because you get a little bit of everything. It's not overwhelming.
You gotta pay for everything. I hate it.
Well, you gotta pay. That's life. You gotta pay for everything. Everything. I mean, come on, man. Go to a Wizard's World.
Go to Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore I'd recommend also if you get a chance to come up to it too. It's just a nice. Are you guys gonna be in Baltimore this year then?
I am definitely, yes.
Excellent. Yeah. You have to align our schedules and hook up and I should probably take you guys to the Gem Museum, which is really cool also. It's Steve Jeppy, who owns Diamond Comics. He has his own little museum downtown right near the convention center, and it's got pop culture stuff, but he's got a whole giant room of comics, like because he's a huge collector. He's got Amazing Spider-Man #1. He's got Amazing Fantasy 15.
Wow.
He's got Detective Comics 27. He's got Batman #1. You know, from the 30s and 40s. So he's got all those, and they're all displayed in this gorgeous thing. But it's just it's a pop culture museum, and in and of itself.
Disappointed if there wasn't any genuine holograms. Remember the fucking gem museum.
Where are the holograms?
Yeah, maybe even the Misfits. I mean, something.
Well, you know what? They do have it. He does have, and he divides his museum up in decades. There might be some gem toys in the '80s section. I can't remember.
Yeah,
Wow.
Museum. You better have at least something. That's
So real quick, do some Q&As and some last-minute wrap-ups, and we're going to shut this puppy down. Holly says, I had a media pass at Dallas Comic-Con. My daughter and I had them, wristbands. We had to cut them off after we finally got home, waterproof. And once they were on, so no lines. I mean, it's such a great thing. You just go up there, hey, look at this. Or you have the little lanyard. You're like, hey, look at that. I've got the VIP or whatever.
Going through.
Go anywhere you want to, exactly. Anything else? Let's see. And Holly's very impressed by how many cons you've gone to, Nicole. So so much fun. So that's cool. So besides Baltimore and San Diego, any other ones on your plate coming up?
I am really praying that Dragon Con comes through again this year. Like, that's only...
Yeah.
I really, really want to go, but everyone else is kind of hesitant on it.
I wanted to go this year. I didn't get to go last year.
I might end up going by myself. I mean, I don't really care if I'm in a hotel room by myself. That was, like, one of the most amazing things I've ever been to in my life. Like, I'm not lying.
Yeah. It sounds cool. It's not like in a convention center, but it's 3 hotels that are all connected.
It was awesome.
And the convention like that. Yeah, so then it's like the party spills over all night long. It's all in the same place. You know, like she was telling me about it last year. I said, I gotta go this year. I gotta see it.
Good people.
I want to see the furries, and you know, I guess it's more of a cosplayer convention.
On July 4th, I want to go. There's a furry convention in Pittsburgh, but don't tell them that I'm not a furry because I'm gonna try and pull it off. I'm gonna put on some ears and stuff. I want to see what that's all about.
That's cool. Yeah, that's interesting. So good. So you got yourself a full slate of stuff coming up, which is excellent.
This is full con season is in full swing.
Maybe a BronyCon. I missed BronyCon last year.
Yeah, that's in. I think it's in New Jersey.
I don't know.
It's in New Jersey or New York.
I thought it was Baltimore. Actually,
yeah, it's in one's in New Jersey or New York.
Unfortunately, I think I think we might have it another year, but I think we lost Otakon, which is I've never actually been, but that's a Japanese anime and manga convention, which is huge downtown. But for some reason, we lost it. I don't know if this is going to be the first year we're not going to have it. It's always during the summer for long weekend, and it's a big deal. A lot of people down there, but I think we lost it this year, so that's a shame. But yeah, totally. So that sounds good. So any other last minute survival tips? I mean, I think we covered everything.
Get some good shoes, decent shoes. And don't be scared to wear compression stockings on your legs. I mean, you feel like pantyhose, but trust me,
I don't need them.
I like wearing them, and I mean, your legs feel good when you're walking. 8-10 hours a day.
Oh wow, yeah.
Are fucking killing you. Like, get compression stockings are very nice, and don't be. They do. First couple times I felt a little dirty putting them on, like thigh highs, and I'm like, I don't feel weird. I don't know, like this is weird. But yeah, your legs will definitely thank you for it, and get some decent views.
San Diego, definitely stay up on Twitter, like just all the time. I mean, there's so much that goes on. Like Breaking Bad had some like limited thing. The first 300 people that tweeted last year got in, and it was gone in like I don't know, like a minute, I want to say, but. I mean, it's just basically luck, some of the stuff you get into that's free, and anyone, just ask questions, and if you're going to sleep out, get one of those mats at the sporting goods stores that you can blow up, that, like, you go in it.
Once I blow it up.
And then you sleep on it, and it's totally awesome, because otherwise you're sleeping on the ground, and it's a little bit cold, so.
And power bars.
Yeah,
power bars. Pack a box of power bars in your backpack.
Yeah.
And water's always good too, obviously. Because it is true, because these cons, they're not in cushy, carpeted, lovely places. It's hard, stone floor, rock floor, concrete floor, and yeah, and if your feet aren't well protected, your legs aren't well protected, and that's all you do. You're just walking, and that's all. It's up and down the aisles, going around everybody. Yeah, it's after a while. I mean, it gets a little exhausting. At the Baltimore Convention Center, they've got like circuits and stuff.
Miles that you walk during it, supposedly, but
we did 20 the one year a day.
20.
Wow.
Bring cash because the booths, like the independent artists, you're gonna need cash.
You gotta make it rain.
And then also you're gonna want a charger, and you're gonna charger for your phones, and you're gonna want to get one that's made for laptops because they have more juice. Yeah, they can last for days, and they're not that much more expensive than the little flashlight ones. So get one that's made for laptops, and you'll be able to tweet and take pictures all day. Because I mean, that's what you're doing when you're in line for 7 hours. Is this?
Even though your LTE or whatever it is, your 3G at con is the worst in the world. Forget about it, really, because
most of them, because you're inside. Even Baltimore, like when you're inside the buildings.
Yeah, and then so many people are trying to tweet a dumb picture at the same time.
You mean a fabulous picture that I took?
Whatever the case may be. But yeah, it's but definitely a charge.
And definitely before we go, I brought some swag because I've only been to WonderCon.
We're going to do a giveaway.
So I have 2 things. I don't know how you guys want to decide to give them away. But I have this from Miss Principal Belding. Mr. B.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
From his new comic.
Oh, wow.
He gave me heck about not putting a name on it. Yeah. You really want to put a name on that one. And then this, which I had to run from the panel just to get, it's the Godzilla.
Wow.
Poster.
Yeah, and it is pretty awesome.
And it does say on here, WonderCon 2014.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Oh, wow.
Okay, definitely. We're going to have to come up with some sort of contest to get that. Those are great prizes.
Let us know, and we'll mail them out to whoever wins those. And next time we'll have more swag, because WonderCon's not that good for swag. So San Diego Comic-Con makes it rain sometimes. We try.
Their swag has been getting less and less through every year.
But I promise you, if there's swag, I'm there grabbing it for you guys. So.
Hey, you want a bag?
You want a lanyard? I got 20.
Yeah, we got 1,000.
Okay. Cool. I definitely will think of something, and I'll pass it on my show or over Twitter or whatever to try to get some people interested in this to figure out some sort of way to do it. So I'll definitely thank you very much, guys. That's great.
Yes, thank you. I've learned a lot. I'm actually thinking, okay, I took some notes. I'm like, all right, I can do this.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I promise.
And most places also, MJ, they've got places where if you need a second to take a break or rest, that's still within the con itself. You can take, like at the Baltimore Convention Center, you walk out of there, you go up the escalator up to the second level, and you've got fluffy sofas, you've got tables, you've got carpeting, you've got lovely views of the city if you want to just hang out and just sit down. And
Starbucks there.
Yeah, don't go to Starbucks inside.
At the Baltimore one, oh my God, that was the longest line. I gave up after 30 minutes, and I didn't move 2 people.
Yeah. Oh, no. If you want a chair and you're at con, you can do like me.
Don't steal chairs.
Just walk by. You see a chair sitting there, you pick it up and you carry it around with you. And you
took it from the Adult Swim people.
Yeah, there was Adult Swim booth. I was there. The chair was empty. So I mean, people get out of your way too because you're carrying a real chair. So you got your bubble around you. And then you can just sit down wherever you want. And who's going to say, hey, move that chair?
Basically, just take him with you.
Yeah, come with me. You'll have a place to sit. You won't wait on any lines.
Leave your shame at the door.
Yeah. That's why I go away from him.
Awesome. So thank you guys for coming on. Con season is in the swing. For those who don't know what cons are out there, just Google it. Just write comic conventions. There'll be calendars everywhere. Baltimore's comic convention. If you want to come, maybe meet me sometime. Yeah. Is I think the second weekend of September. So it's going to be like the 6th, 7th, 9th, 10th. Actually, I can try to get the exact date on here too. San Diego is pretty much really impossible to get into, but that one's coming up. And just keep an eye out. You know, there's always tons of them out there. There might be some small ones that aren't.
Go to your local comic book store, because there's always promoting little tiny cons.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Okay.
There was one in D.C. Last month called Awesome Con, which I never really had heard of before, but it's.
Hear that.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. So September, we're looking at. It looks like I think Baltimore Con will probably either be September 6th and 7th or 13th and 14th. I think it's 6th and 7th actually this year.
7th too, because it's right after Dragon Con.
Yeah, it's right after.
Yeah. So come down to Baltimore. It's great. I mean, it's right in the heart of the city. So if you want to go have some fun at the Inner Harbor is right there. There's tons of hotels in the area because we got into some trouble with trying to overestimate how important we were, and we built a bunch of hotels which are now standing empty for a lot of places. But there's some big ones. There's one right by Camden Yards, the Orioles Stadium. The convention center is right next to the Orioles Stadium, so if you want to check out one of the best baseball stadiums out there, I mean, you don't even have to be a sports fan, it's just the gorgeous architecture.
Beautiful, yeah.
It's a beautiful stadium. It's right there. And as I said, also the Diamond Gem Museum is there, and the Baltimore Sports All Stars Museum is in the same building, and both of those are really interesting as well. It's just not a bad time. We're right near the metro, so if you don't want to be in Baltimore City, you want to go out in the county, whatever, that's fine, or light rail, whatever. So come down, and as I said, just keep an eye out. Cons are a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they are.
Do it. Dip your toe in. Do it.
Do it, absolutely. So let's see what we got going. MJ and I will be back on Saturday, next Saturday. We're doing our postponed Batman Part 2 series with DH Gamer. And then that Sunday, I'll be back with Gigi Fletcher. We'll be doing our list show. We'll be doing the top 10 films from 1984, which is the 30th anniversary this year. So let's see what there's a lot of really interesting ones. If you don't know what came out in '84, there's some makes you feel old that they're 30 years old. It's like, really? They're 30 years old? So we got some good ones there. And then the week after that, I got my paranormal show. I'm not exactly sure who my host is because that's Father's Day weekend, and I think Larissa's got some plans. She won't be able to make it, so I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do with that. The week after that will be my birthday weekend. My birthday is June 20th, and the 22nd is going to be my international show. I'm still trying to work out the guest list with that, but Bronwyn and I will be there, and I've got potential that Kelly Toole will be there, and Young Jeans will probably be there, and maybe Tony Solo, so that'd be good. And I have a fifth Sunday this month in June, which I'm still trying to figure out what to do, but we had a interesting, I think you were involved in this, MJ, the conversation about Stephen King on Twitter a while back. I'm still considering maybe doing a Stephen King show for my fifth Sunday, or maybe I'll do another Doctor Who show. I don't know. So
do whatever you want.
What'd you say, Jay?
Why isn't Salem's Lot on Netflix? That's what I'm.
That's a good question.
I wish.
I've seen it maybe once or twice when I was a kid, and it's like that little girl at the window is just freaking, like, just put it on there. I want to see it as an adult, see if it still gets me, bro.
So that's my upcoming slate. So I want to thank my co-host Nicole, not my co-host MJ, and my guests Nicole and Jay. So thanks for coming on. I think we had a good discussion, and absolutely, as we all agree, go out to a con. It's a lot of fun. It is officially con season. You'll probably find one down the line, and if there's one nearby, you're not necessarily in the same state as you. If it's just maybe like if you live in Pennsylvania or New Jersey, come down to Baltimore or go to New York Con, or if you're down in North Carolina, Georgia, whatever, Heroes is another good one, Dragon Con. There's a whole slate of them coming up, so just keep your eyes peeled.
Start your own.
Right, yeah.
Hey, there you go. Start your own.
Exactly. So on that note, I'm going to say farewell, and we'll see you all next time, okay? Thanks, everyone, for coming on and watching. See you later.
Bye.